What's going on, everybody? Eric Lindquist at Stochastic here on the Odd Chopper channel, coming to you with a Halloween for me, November 1st for you edition of Lindy's, Leans, Likes, and Locks. Hit that like button, subscribe button, notification bell goes a long way for me on this video, goes a long way for you. That way you become apprised whenever great content is going live here at our little neck of the YouTube woods. Working late here tonight on Halloween. Gonna be going to parties after, don't you worry. And then coming home and going to work really early because we got money to make here in not just the NBA streets, but the MLB streets. And then it's the NFL streets. And they're all these sports streets, and we are firing it all up. But the NBA, 13 games the day after Halloween. Are you joking me right now? Are you kidding me, baby? Absurd stuff, but this is also absurd stuff. Bet365, available in 6 states, all of them now. Bet5, get 150 in bet credits. Those states being Kentucky, Virginia, Ohio, New Jersey, Colorado, and Iowa. Only if you're 21 and over, 18 and over in Kentucky. And if you have a gambling problem, please call 1-800-GAMBLER. But 5 into 150 in bet credits, that kind of explains itself. But I'm not going to dilly-dally. I got things to do, places to be, people to see. Dog to... Well, we're not going to really dress him up. His name's Duke. He's going to be Spook. Oh, it's adorable. You don't care, okay? 13 games here in the NBA streets for Wednesday. Holy crap, there's a lot to get to. Producer Jacob, let's get to the picks. An absolutely heartbreaking start here for us. Our guy, Jalen Duren, questionable entering this game. 4 games in a row, only played 23 minutes last time out, got dinged up. It was not good. Left ankle sprain. I mean, what are you going to do about that? Obviously, once that line ended up dropping, minus 300, kind of the prevailing number for a double-double. 1, made me feel good about the work we do here on this program, making sure that I get you good lines. But 2, don't bet crap like that. Again, I said because I'm in love with him and I thought it could be a parlay piece. So that's kind of the way that I'm going to give my analysis here on a couple of spots. And again, you got to understand how things are changing. And we want to be early to the party on new roles, new rotations. And we were on Duren. We've talked enough about that. I'm not going to keep complimenting myself, although what a hell of a call, Eric. Anyway, we are looking at a very different situation with him. Questionable. It could end up leading to a ton of rebounds up for grabs. Maybe Isaiah Stewart can grab 1 in the next century. Wild to see his rebound rate, 9.3 rebounds per game, but that's because of 14 in the opening night where he played 35 minutes, and then you saw the emergence of Duren. You saw more minutes for Oscar Thompson, and again, it's like Leviosa, not Leviosa. It's like the Harry Potter, Hermione Granger thing. I have now heard his name said 48 different, actually no, not 40, 2 different ways. Osar and then Oscar. I want to let you know, I don't know exactly which one it is, and everybody wants to let me know in the comment section when I mispronounce something, so I'm just going to say, I'm going off of the Pistons broadcast, of which I have heard both, and I'm going absolutely batshit crazy. But if you don't have Jalen Duren on the floor, this is a kid who's averaging 10.5 rebounds per game, facing a Portland team that is absolute dog doo-doo. I mean, they're 4-point favorites here at home. Detroit is. And I don't find Detroit to be all that appealing of a basketball team going forward. I find them to be very enticing in terms of maybe Cade Cunningham. Can we start looking into triple doubles there eventually? Not now, eventually. But Oscar Thompson, this kid can board you a basketball, averaging 10.5 rebounds now per game. And I think what's really incredible about him is the length and the predictability. He has a really good, it's like a basset hound type approach where he can high point a basketball really quickly. Young 18, 19-year-old kids who actually understand how to play the game of basketball, they're exciting to me. And he's starting to be one of them who you're not going to see him be a volume shooter. And he's not a great shooter. That is something he has to improve in his arsenal over the course of this season already. What is he shooting? 14% from 3, 324 from the field. That's not good enough, but you're going to develop him. He's going to get a long leash, and he's a good two-way player. Well, not even offensively good, but he is a great defensive player who can add you contributing stats here in the rebound department. With no Duren, this would be like a 12-plus rebound type look that I'd be giving it here. But I think this is kind of what I want to do for this program today, where there are so many unpredictable lines. We have a lot of injuries already that have accumulated in 1 week. Without a lot of props here, there are a couple up, but without a lot of them, I'm going to give you kind of the range of that I'm looking at. I think Oscar Thompson has a chance when these props are released after Duren of being like 11.5 or 12.5. And for me, that seems a little bit uncomfortable. I don't know if we continue to see that roll where He's going to go out and play 30, 31 minutes here a game, and then they're going to bring somebody like James Wiseman into the rotation to possibly make up for it. Although I'd prefer they just played Isaiah Stewart at the 5. That would make sense. And that would help you in terms of these also Thompson rebounds. So 10 plus rebounds plus the Detroit money line. Detroit money line was something I thought about betting outright at minus 175. I'm going to wait, see what happens with Durant, because you're going to get a better number if he ends up being out for it. The guy has defensively brought a lot to the table for Detroit already. Defensive rating goes way up with him on the floor. And I mean, there aren't a lot of minutes without him on the floor, but we'll accumulate the sample size. Think you're getting a better price if Durant gets out, and these rounds are going to go up. So it's kind of this, but I doubt we get an official line here before the Durant news. If you do, I'll probably just take the over on like a 9.5, 10.5 before we see the number, assuming minus 110 juice. Milwaukee and Toronto are up next. And these are two teams that's like the different pace studies altogether. Toronto, dead last in pace in the entire NBA by quite a margin here so far. 95.5 possessions per 48 minutes. That, friends, is very slow. You know what's really crazy to see is Houston right next to them playing some very slow, very half-court basketball with Fred VanVleet at the helm. So he's basically taken what he's done and moved it over there. But that's a conversation for Houston, and nobody wants to talk about Houston, except for James Harden, who probably is still going to go there even after going to the Clippers because they have fine establishments in that part of the country. But Milwaukee and Toronto, Milwaukee far higher up there in terms of pace, 103 possessions per 48 minutes. Again, we're going to accumulate sample size and have a better gauge, but that's the same fact that the books have too. They are going to have this information, and I think you want to be early to the party on some of these features. And one of those, I don't really like the Milwaukee second unit all that much. I mean, Bobby Portis, another year older. Cam Payne, another year older, and been around for a while making things work. You got Beauchamp, who's been dinged up. He's questionable with an illness entering this game, although the team did exercise this option, make him feel good about himself. Lots of different pieces that are just okay. But like, this is really a team predicated on how they handled themselves as a starting 5, but without Chris Middleton playing big minutes, only played 16 and 17 in the first 2 games of this young season, or in his 2 first games of this season. They played 3. I feel as though we want to kind of be trepidatious about anything happening from the second unit here, and trepidatious about Toronto adding anything offensively. You no longer have Mr. Fred VanVleet there. You have Dennis Schroeder, who's been playing some high-level basketball from this summer into the beginning of this season, but at the NBA level, I don't expect that he's going to be somebody who provides the same kind of offensive spark plug that you saw there. Dennis Schroeder, a much better defender. That's why we talked about him throughout that Lakers series alongside D'Angelo Russell. They were better suited to have Schroeder on the floor. That's why you have Schroeder on the floor. It's two-way capability. And hey, he shot the 3 pretty well here in the early going of this year. But Scotty Barnes, Pascal Siakam, that's your cornerstone pieces here. Jakob Poeltl could be enacted into more duty here with Precious Achiuwa. He's doubtful. That was not a funny bit. But Jakob Poeltl could play a little bit more. OG Anunoby expected back for this one. That's a great defender to bring in. I like the under. 224.5 seems like a lot for a team like Toronto that's not playing at a fast pace. They don't want to. And Milwaukee, I mean, Damian Lillard, yeah, he's very, very good offensively. Going to be an interesting matchup there. Schroeder, he's going to be focused. What an ancillary piece of whatever. The data has this at 220. So there you go. Enjoy that half unit. Disgusting little game that I don't want to talk too much about, but I do want to talk about coaches figuring shit out. Good job, coaches, as you start to make changes to your starting lineup. We've seen that throughout the beginning of the season in very small capacities, but I think one of the more underrated capacities for people who do not play DFS, if you do, you totally understand this one, is the emergence of Jalen Johnson. Before the season started, in the second to last preseason game of the season, Jalen Johnson started. He played awesome. The last game of the preseason, you saw Sadiq Bey, who I find to be okay, but I think he's a little bit overrated. People get a little bit gung-ho about his shooting. He's okay, but he's not really a developed player in the way that Jalen Johnson just has a ceiling attached to him. And I like this young player. Good to see him now inserted into this starting rotation, and I'm keying in on him because he's going to be the feature of this. But I'll at least talk about Washington. They're fucking terrible. There, we talked about Washington. Jalen Johnson, double-double. I'm leaning that direction. Would like to see something better than plus 500. Again, only averages 7 rebounds per game. But don't forget, They've had back-to-back wonky games, blowout wins on the Atlanta side. Him in a starting capacity, I'm going to project it a little bit closer. That I think we might get some really, really good numbers on Jalen Johnson here on Wednesday. The Indiana could not be Pacers if Tyrese Halliburton is out, taking on the Boston Celtics, who are absolutely ridiculous. Producer Jacob, I hate you. My Minnesota Timberwolves get to play Denver. We're going to find out what this is all about. I am very anxious to talk. I'm not anxious to talk about that game. It's just a lean, but I think there's something that's going to exist there in some capacity. This one, there are so many ways that this ends up panning out. Welcome to the NBA season where I can't do everything for you the night before. That is why we have Lindy's Locks Update. Obviously, just 3 games. I've been sick all week. I'm going to go out into the wild and see how I do things. But regardless, there will be a video version tomorrow because it is 13 damn games with so much information. And it is impossible to imagine multiple things aren't going to be vaulted to the top of my board come tomorrow, barring news. This is one of them that I doubt changes anything because 11.5 is already a number that I don't want to be tangoing here with this Boston Celtics team. They're a fully operational Death Star. Kristaps Porzingis has looked every bit the piece that they were waiting for. Goes out and blitzkriegs New York Knicks and played fantastic in that opener with a 30 ball. Goes against Miami, just goes toe-to-toe and owns Bam Adebayo, knocking down shots. I mean, are we talking about how efficiently he's shooting the basketball? 47% from 3, 58% from the field. Just in the flow of the offense, though, too. I mean, only 15, 12, and 9 shot attempts in the first 3 games. Sure, that Washington one, they were up by infinity points, and they didn't have to push anybody there. But I think this is just a game that you want to stay away from altogether. I think, though, Indy could be very, very incapacitated if they do not have Tyrese Halliburton on the floor. He's such a catalyst for everything you're going to do. You also have the quiet piece of Benedict Mathurin. He's questionable entering this one. Indy, not my favorite spot here to try to go out of my way to back them in the Garden against Drew Holiday-infused defense. Lots of long wing players. This Boston team is damn good. 231.5. Boston could be an impetus for it going there already. Indy, pretty much nothing on the defensive end, but I think for the most part, we just stay away from this game altogether now. Birds of a feather now, under 231.5. It's a lean, but there's enough here, enough news that I'm just not going to be dealing with it. And speaking of news you don't want to deal with, I have to remind you, on a 13-game slate, we don't have to force anything. We don't have to force anything. And that being said, Brooklyn, wild to see them 3-0 against the spread. Those are closing lines. Don't forget, my friends. In Miami, 1-3. So many pieces of injury news, so little time. The biggie, obviously, Jimmy Butler here, questionable entering this one. Bam Adebayo got flipped to probable a couple hours ago, and Spencer Dinwiddie, he is going to be doubtful for this one. But I think now that the book saw that Ben Simmons is going to be getting a longer leash, and we felt that one coming. We've gone back-to-back double-doubles in that department on the betting card in the premium Discord and on this program. Kenny was a lean that turned into that double-double bet. Felt good about that. Been getting some ridiculous numbers, but if you see 32 and 35 minutes back-to-back for Ben Simmons, and now Spencer Dinwiddie, and he's going to be enacted into more betting, more betting. I hope not, because that would be trouble. He's going to be enacted into more ball handling duty. You're looking at Ben Simmons, producer Jacob's other child, that's for sure. An opportunity to absolutely look at him being jammed by the books. Yeah, not jammed by us this time around. We could see a wonky number. Also, the ways that he can get there. Sometimes it's assist rebounds. Sometimes it's points. Sometimes it's this. Sometimes it's that. Sometimes it's me with a baseball bat. I don't know. Brooklyn plus 6.5 lean. I don't want to deal with spots that I don't want to deal with. And this seems like one of them. Miami, we know what they can do defensively. We can slow the game down like crazy. They are doing that yet again this season, doing all the things that you would expect. Have been better in terms of some metrics. Tyler Hero, he's not good. I want him to be good. He's not good. He has a song named after. He's not good. Brooklyn plus 6.5, just a lean. Let's run it back, but this time in the Garden, where people want to go. Not that people don't want to go to Cleveland. It's lovely No, it's not lovely this time of year. Anyway, the Cleveland Cavaliers playing the New York Knicks for a second straight time. Let's play a little game called Check In on It. Obviously, the Texas Rangers are up infinity runs, 10-0 in that one. Ooh, they're going to get after that bullpen. Somebody's got to go out there and throw innings. That's the difference here in the old playoffs. Just throwing it out there. We'll see. Tell Marte, just another double. Guy's absolutely out of control. But 10-0 Texas Rangers, checking on that. But no, I was going to the NBA streets. We did hit the lock, though, on Corey Seager. That felt good. Knicks now up infinity. Again, what are we going to do about it? Cleveland. Karis LeVert ends up sitting. Donovan Mitchell, now he sucks today. I don't know what to make of it. Something tells me money comes in on the Knicks side. And with that being said, you're running back the same game, same pieces, more than likely Karis LeVert out again. I'm not completely sold on that. We shall see. People always think that what just happened yesterday is going to happen today. So this just seems like a public spot where they're going to force this line, and that's going to make me bet Cleveland more than likely, and I don't feel good about it. We got plus 130, the line close to plus 110 with Donovan Mitchell in. If only we could cash some closing line value tickets here with some of these money lines. Magic, Cleveland, mother effer. Welcome to early season NBA. It's a long road, though. As long as we are beating line movement, it feels good. But this one feels like something that's going to be the opposite. You're going to want to hold steady, let the public bet the Knicks. Let them bet it. If it gets to a place where this is north of plus 170, ooh, that could be a lot of fun. And I think it's very, very live as you shift to the Garden. We got ourselves 6 states only here for Bet365. But if you're in Colorado, Iowa, Virginia, Kentucky, New Jersey, Ohio, congratulations. You can bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets just by going to the link below, betting $5 on anything and getting $150 back in bonus bets. No, really, it's actually that simple. There's also that first bet safety net, but trust me, $5 into $150 in bonus bets with 0 strings attached, knowing that the most you could possibly be out at the end of it all is $5. That's a good feeling. I like being able to talk about reputable sportsbooks, Bet365. I want you signed up at every sportsbook you have available to you because shopping for the best odds, that's a huge part of what we do. It's the majority of what we do with a market-based approach. So bet 5, get 150 in bonus bets at Bet365, only for 21 and over. And if you are in the states of Colorado, Iowa, New Jersey, Ohio, Virginia, and Kentucky, 21 and over, 18 and over in Kentucky. And if you have a gambling problem, please call 1-800-GAMBLER. Back to the picks. And back to the well we go with one SGA here. We got the Oklahoma City Thunder hosting the Pelicans. And I mean, it could not have pissed me off more that the Pelicans rule out Brandon Ingram 20 minutes before tip. I mean, it was the absolute gut punch period. And I think it's added a rule. It was maybe an enforcing a rule for me here in the early season as I'm starting to read the tea leaves about some of these spots. I'm not going to give you locks that I do not think are positive EV or going to turn into positive EV, but I have to throw out constantly that you have to be paying attention to news, and there was no way. I ended up sending something in the premium Discord as soon as Ingram got ruled out. Yeah, they got Klay Thompson ruled out. That does not matter as much as Brandon Ingram in the year of our Lord, 2023, on October 30th. Great stuff, friends. It made me mad. And of course, Golden State ends up running with it. Draymond Green ends up playing to full capacity. It's whatever. He's still going to be limited to some extent. But I'm just saying, very, very tilting. There are no locks on a 13-game slate because I know, without a doubt, I'm going to have multiple locks on this slate. I just can't tell where they're going to be yet, and I want to read some tea leaves. I want to see who gets downgraded to questionable, upgraded from probable, things, or not upgraded, upgraded from out or doubtful, or things of that capacity. Does Karis LeVert play for Cleveland? We have so many pieces of injury news on the freaking docket already, and it's made worse. Adam Silver thought he was fixing a problem. It is going to be like, oh, hey, sorry, he stubbed his toe. We got to sit him for, whatever else, because we know that we're going to have him play 38 minutes the next however many nights. And I don't know, try to catch teams by surprise. It's going to be very ugly. So going to throw it out there. That's something that I feel bad about. I think I learned my lesson in the early going of this one. I'm losing money right alongside you. It sucks. And then I can't sleep. Then Mr. Bigglesworth gets upset. And when Mr. Bigglesworth gets upset, people die. It's a good movie. I miss those. But anyway, we're going to run this back, friends. SGA. Nice thing about player props. Recommending player props. Talking about player props. If they don't play, they get voided. So what a time to be alive. Something that I'm going to be focusing more of my lock attention on going forward. Purely because of that fact. Again, I'm doing Lindy's Locks update. I'm going to have locks on spreads, locks on money lines. That's things that are going to happen. That's basically your 1 unit or over 1 unit in the very rare occasion type plays. Half units, a large allotment of my cards, trying to get exposure to multiple plays that I think are positive AV. That's the name of the market-based approach. That's what Odd Shopper helps you do with the tools. That's what we're here to do. But I've broken down enough of that. Brandon Ingram enters this game questionable. I don't really know how to talk about OKC the night before. And in fact, I could see this being like a game time decision type deal for him. It sounds as though he might actually be dealing with some kind of a knee issue, but like maybe tell us that before 20 minutes before tip and it falls out of the sky. Just throwing it out there. Also, NBA beat reporters are the absolute worst. They don't actually ask tough questions because they want to keep their jobs and make teams happy in this day and age. It's horrible. I've got enough off my chest with that one. But SGA, 30 plus points. His line was sitting at 29.5 last time out. We smashed that in the premium Discord. Put it on Lindy's Locks update. Put it pretty much everywhere. I loved the 29.5. I think actually somebody asked me. They were looking for an underdog play, and I put 29.5 for SGA was my favorite for that regard in the YouTube video description box. Hey, sounds great. Good times. He's so damn good at basketball. He'd look great in a Clippers uniform. Isn't it wild to see Charlotte and Houston with a 223 total? My brain inherently broke when I was looking at this total because everything I know about the Houston Rockets is pace, is easy shootouts, is no defense, and things of that nature. Now, they do get the other Thompson twin, Amen. Very easy to remember that one because, you know, or I guess some people would probably say Amen. But it's Amen. It's all that I've heard them talk about. Houston Broadcasting knows how to say their players' names, so thanks to them. But anyway, the Charlotte Hornets on this side of it, they're going to play with pace. They're going to be the ones who are pushing the tempo. They're thick, you know. They need tempo. 105.7 possessions per 48 minutes in the early going of this, and then offensive possession length. That's another characteristic that I think is a little bit underutilized by the books. 13.4 seconds per possession. How long of the shot clock do you utilize? Now, the longest is 15.6 seconds on the shot clock. You get transition plays, you get things like that. It definitely brings it down from like inside of it. But Houston, it is crazy for me to see them at 28th. 15.1 seconds per possession on offense. That's slow. That's really slow. That's resulted in 96.6 possessions per 48 minutes. That is 29th out of 30 NBA teams. Second slowest in the association. Why are they doing this? Well, you have a new coaching staff. You have Udoka hanging out there, not hanging out with, well, I'm not going to make a joke. He's a Celtics legend. Can't do that. Also, people's personal lives are people's personal lives. We're not going to do that. Never should have been fired. Okay, there's my opinion. That's what I wanted to throw out there. Never should have been fired. Never should have been fired. Anyway, the Charlotte Hornets, we're looking on this side of things, and they're going to hopefully provide some pace here. Hopefully. Because 223 seems really, really low to me. I think there has to be some corrective situations here. Yeah, they're playing through Şengün a little bit more. Yeah, Fred VanVleet likes to slow it down. Chill out. But eventually, you got to start pushing the pace with some of these young players. Jabari Smith, Dylan Brooks, I hate you. Thompson, let's get a couple of these youngins going. Let's stop playing slow ball, Jock Landale off the bench garbageness that he's barely been in the rotation for anybody who's paying attention. But I'm just saying, it's very, very strange. He had a concussion for what it's worth. Over 223 for a half unit. Sound fun? I think it sounds fun. This is going to move up. I'm pretty sure this will be 225 by lock. Should be around 227, but that's just me. My Minnesota Timberwolves facing the Denver Nuggets. I thought about making this Nikola Jokic triple-double. Part of the problem of him absolutely smashing some of these for us early is that, well, the numbers are not going to be all that good. We've seen plus 250, plus 200, plus 175. FanDuel, best number last time out. What do we see this time around? Now, it hasn't been a huge feature of this program this year. Talked about it a ton last year. Thought we'd have a little bit of a wait-and-see approach. Glad that we pulled the trigger to some extent here the last couple, but, like, Nikola Jokic is an absolute dude. He's going to be facing Rudy Gobert here, who he absolutely tools from time to time. You got Karl Anthony Towns, who plays about as good a defense as you and me. That's not good. And Naz Reid has been our best center offensively in the early going of this season. I don't even know why. We have the life that we do, friends. Time is an illusion. It's a construct. Karl Anthony Towns has yet to hit 20 points on the old speedometer. Actually, speedometer is the wrong word. Naz Reid, nasty Naz going out there. Gone all of 7 for 14 from 3, shooting 50% the last 2. Nothing like a dude who can shoot threes, play crazy defense, just be an energy guy. I mean, this Gobert contract is going to hang over me forever. But Nikola Jokic thought about making the triple-double, but I'm actually just going to be leaning on the Denver side of things. I still think Jury is out on this bench. I understand Peyton Watson been playing some decent basketball. I understand Reggie Jackson been playing way over his head. Had a really good first 2 games, starting to slide a little bit. We'll see as time goes on if he can sustain. Obviously, it's a lot easier to play basketball when you have Jokic and Aaron Gordon, defensive specialist, and Jamal Murray on your team. I mean, this is a Denver team that is first in adjusted net rating for a damn reason. They are very good. I still think Boston would be the better side of that one. I understand why Denver is over 25% in a lot of models that I know and trust to win an NBA title already. A quarter of the time you run out the season, we're already anointing Denver. I want to kind of Denny Green that one. They are who we thought they were. You want to just crown them, anoint them. That's actually a Minnesota guy that became an Arizona guy and now Rip. He was a good dude. Met him one time. You rub my head like that. So that, go get him, sport. I don't know, he was nice. He's a large man. Denver -3. Just a lean. And why is it that I'm going to not put Jokic triple-double on the card yet? Well, because this one has a chance to be incredible again. Now, I want to see the line. I need to see what books do here. We talk about middling a lot here. Now, middling sounds a little freaky. Sounds like something you could do in the bedroom that might be enjoyable, but no. Middling is when the books take one side where somebody is in, one side where somebody's out, they average them out, and that is your line that is available. One of the biggest misconceptions in sports betting is that people think books want 50-50 action on both sides. No, they don't. Nobody gives a shit about having equal money on both sides. They are more than happy to take stands, and most of those stands are in a positive direction. But books are also competing for your business, and they are more than likely to entice you in the early of the NBA season so that, hey, we have the best numbers. You got all your subscriptions for the NBA early to Odd Shopper now. Sounds great. And then those numbers get worse over time, or they adjust to new news, or those overs don't look nearly as enticing because, again, how many people are putting together no double-double parlays? Answer, not many people. But thank you to FanDuel Sportsbook for being so profitable here in the early going of this season. They have had the best triple-double ones, and a lot of times it's better to build it out with like 10 plus, 10 plus, 10 plus. That being 10 plus rebounds, single game parlay, 10 plus assists, single game parlay. You probably can't even I couldn't put it together, but you can't put together 10 plus points for Luka because the number would be like minus 10,000, 20,000, something like that. But you can put the 15 point with it, and it's a nice adjustment. You're generally getting a much, much better payout for it. So may I recommend always checking the FanDuel, DraftKings, those being the biggies that most people have both of. Check the odds on both. Build them out from the single game parlay. Sometimes you get a better number than you get for the actual listed triple-double. That being said, Kyrie Irving, that is the major reason that we are looking at Luka Doncic here. Yes, he's accomplished this feat now twice already in the early going of this season. Probably should have accomplished it against Brooklyn if some of his teammates could have knocked down shots, and instead he had to go 9 for 14 from 3 and do all of it himself. Did anybody watch Mortal Kombat Annihilation, the second Mortal Kombat movie? Where Shao Kahn's dad goes, "Must I do everything for you?" That's where my brain always goes. If somebody finds that clip and posts it to Twitter for me tomorrow, you'd be my new favorite person. Because again, I don't know where my brain goes. I don't write this stuff down. That's just, I'd call it genius, but it's more insanity. Luka Doncic to triple-double against a Chicago team. I just want to point out that Zach LaVine scored half of his team's points a game ago. I really have nothing else to say. I really don't want to talk about Chicago. Memphis and Utah. Memphis kind of sliding. Not looking so good here in the early going of this season. And it's pretty easy to see John Morant and have that make sense. But like 0-4. 0-4. The only 2 winless teams in the NBA, the Memphis Grizzlies and the Houston Rockets. One of those is surprising to me. I'll let you guess which one. It's Memphis. That's surprising to me. 1-3 against the spread. But we got to look at this through a little bit better lens than that. Even though they've played the 8th most difficult strength of schedule according to dunks and threes, they still brought a lot of defensive intensity, 109 defensive rating here in the early going of this season. And that's obviously a catalyst of Marcus Smart being on this basketball team, who, Dylan Brooks, for all of his faults, was a great defender. Marcus Smart been doing a decent enough job. And then Jaren Jackson Jr., who could have just ran the table with Memphis. Yeah, I mean, played phenomenal basketball, stayed out of foul trouble over the course of the playoffs towards the tail end of that playoff run. But yeah, this feels icky because, again, this is going to be a lean. But looking a game ago, I was a little bit surprised to see his 2.5, 3.5 numbers as high as what they were. Because Jaren Jackson Jr., if he stays out of foul trouble, is just going to rack up defensive stats. And this Utah team, we know there's going to be extra possessions when you're facing them. They are not very good. They have guys like Jordan Clarkson who want to chuck the ball early in the clock. And this is one of those disparities that I think you can find a little bit of an edge at a book with. They're only 20th in pace, but they are 10th or 12th, depending on which you look at, because 14.1 is kind of grading out close. But the offensive possession length, 14.1 seconds per 24-second shot clock. We're talking very quick offense, even in half-court sets from them, partially because THT is terrible. I love my Iowa State guys. I love them, but you got to be honest. THT ain't been it. He's not it. He likes to chuck it very easily. And defensive strength schedule here, they have faced the most difficult so far. It's only going to get more difficult here for this Utah team. And I think Jaren Jackson Jr., not a great finisher at the rim is Walker Kessler. John Collins is going to try. Good luck to you. I think Jaren Jackson Jr. to go out absolutely stock crazy here. Stocks being blocks and steals. That's what it's stocks. It's actually steals and blocks. Stocks. There you go. 2.5 steals plus blocks. That is the Jaren Jackson Jr. number I want you very, very aware of. I think he is live for 5 of these mother truckers. So want you to throw it in there. Have it there. Not great finishing at the rim here from Utah. And in fact, I can look up stuff like that here too for a quick second. We're talking about the number one number of shots attempted at the rim, the Utah Jazz. 43.1 of those shots. Jaren Jackson Jr. We're doing the research here, baby. We're getting hot. No De'Aaron Fox, Davion Mitchell starting for the Utah Jazz. Or sorry, not for the Utah Jazz, for the Sacramento Kings. Good luck. Yeah, Domantas Sabonis out there playing the pick and roll with Davion Mitchell. Not looking fun to me. Domantas Sabonis is going to have to create absolutely all of the offense here. And that is not inspiring because Domantas Sabonis cannot guard you or me. Fortunately, his matchup is primarily Draymond Green, Kevon Looney. That's useful. But this Golden State team, Draymond Green plays on a back-to-back his first 2 games back. That was a little bit tilting as well. Played 21 minutes against Houston, then plays 22 against the Pellies. They look so much better with him on the floor, and part of that is just the familiarity Steph Curry has with him. Steph Curry, you go through the data. He is so much better on a floor with Draymond Green. And it makes no sense because it's not like Draymond Green is any kind of a threat to shoot, but he just finds ways to create, whether it's dribble handoffs, whether it's vision, whether it's backdoor cuts, which I think is probably the most underrated part of Steph Curry's game. He is so agile and great finisher at the rim. So, legitimately get screwed here. Golden State, this was probably the borderline I was going to give it to as a lock, but I'm not going to because Sacramento, I don't think we're going to get this version of Harrison Barnes. Does he have revenge in his heart? We shall find out. Keegan Murray, he's started to elevate his game to a place where I'm really enjoying the second-year Iowa product. People were calling him a bust early on in that tenure, but started to get... Brown's done a great job at coaching these young guys. I really think that there's going to be a ceiling there for Keegan Murray. You get these long wings. They're the most important part to really have firing come playoff time, unless you have a guy like Steph Curry, who is a once-in-a-generation type talent. So, is what it is. But like Malik Monk and Davion Mitchell, what a downgrade here. Golden State, -7. Draymond Green back. All the good things. Pretty easy half-unit play. And we round it out in possibly the worst fashion possible. The Clippers, the Lakers, no line, nothing, because, you're getting Paul George and Kawhi Leonard on a back-to-back. Not ideal. Not ideal. Probably going to get 1 or 2 resting there. You get the James Harden trade, which just has an influx of dudes leaving, and you could have, no active bodies here. That trade is not official as of 8 p.m. out there, or what is it? No, it's 9:45 p.m. out there on the East Coast as of right now of recording this. So, legitimately, we could have some issues. We could have some issues in terms of like what this Clippers rotation looks like, and the books aren't going to release anything, and that's absurd. And then the Lakers, I mean, they have a day of rest, which is generally all LeBron needs to be able to be fine. But then he even goes out and plays a back-to-back 39, 33 minutes there last time out. So I don't know what to believe anymore. I have no clue how to handle this rest situation this season. It is wild. How does one even discuss this game? That's what it says. How does one even discuss this game? I'll leave you with a little thinking. Jack Handy's deep thoughts. And that does it for another edition of Lindy's Leans, Likes, and Locks. You know what to do. Go to that comment section below. Let me know your favorite plays that exist here on the board for Wednesday. Going to be a wild one. I guarantee you Lindy's Locks update over on Twitter at Eric Lindquist, my ex. That is going to be important. It is going to be vital to the success of this slate and the success of this video going forward, mainly because I want to give you updated information. I don't have to do that. My job does not require that. Nobody is asking me to do it. I do it because I care about getting you guys in the best position to make money. And then eventually down the line, you'll trust me with the Odd Shopper tools. Then eventually down the line, maybe you want to jump into the premium Discord and just get those plays curated for you an hour before tip every single day, updating plays throughout the day, giving you guys the best information possible to win money together. Again, that'd be cool. But if it doesn't, I want you to be able to get great free information, not just from this video the night before where we try to beat early lines, but where we can get updated information in the NBA streets and give you a great chance to make some money. So let's do that, shall we? Ready, break. Anyway, producer Jacob, thank you so much for another great day in the books. Thursday, a little bit more timid, a little bit more manageable. Until then, I'm Eric Lindquist. Best of luck in the NBA streets on Wednesday. Have a safe, happy Halloween. And then November 1st. How the fuck are we here?